Oh wait, damn it. Hold on.
Welcome to.
Welcome to Tuesday Go to Meeting, where we press this button which produces a random faith, active or extinct, always real or eternally fictional, grandiose or petty as fuck. And once the faith is randomly determined, we will listen to the homily of the week from the pastoral agent of that particular faith, and we will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now quick, I have to grease my legs with CBD salve, cause my puppies have to deliver food come sundown. Pressing the button, a glow raises from the user interface, and we see before us a novel origin for representing the random faith of the week. Leopards break into the temple and guzzle the chalices empty. This happens repeatedly. Eventually one can predict that it will happen again, and it becomes part of the ceremony. Cans of worms are hurled in every direction on church days in anger and ecstasy, the metal ringing on the floors and shattering everywhere. Priests sit huddled under tables covering their heads. They have desecrated and redecorated. No one speaks. Rather, like koans, inaudible shrieks emerge once in a while from their mouths, only to evaporate in silence. Howling breaks out at night among the congregation. They break through walls and storm rooftops and hills. The building could collapse under all the commotion any day now, and they welcome the oblivion as deliverance and union, a cleansing of culture by fate. The wreckage itself must be beautiful and holy. The prophetess stands and reminds them how, 2 hours ago, for the broken roof collapsed upon her when several parishioners clambered to the spot mid-service. Her life flashed before her eyes, and she wept, realizing how lonely she had become even with people reaching over her. Husbands who forgot birthdays because someone told them never to, but it seems like they could. Remember yesterday's bread that sat uneaten on the breakfast table when tomorrow's morning drew near. Neighbors whose voices from far away once lulled her in sleep for years, suddenly going mute when she most needed words. Lovers smiling kindly when their passion waned so long that their heartache grew too real to admit, but loving ones never smiled again. She feels there had been enough light coming into her cramped, miserable house when there were no days without errands. She wants to die tonight and be back in a place to call home after the carnage is over. They are not concerned, and she knows they will follow the advice. When the temple breaks open and swallows them, lie utterly motionless on the floors, not moving and not speaking. Do not attempt to break out, as their survival depends on whether what breaks next breaks everything or breaks off what was already broken. In unison they respond, Amen. But rather than take their seats, a legion then walks back, trudges around the pot on the corner, and urinates inside, and the pot rises, not above ground, but from underground. While one might be at rest here, an ear can almost discern a little pebble click-clacking fast towards another little pebble, as if tumbling or possibly being spat down a dry drain pipe and up, following the curves upwards, when other sound begins rising beyond the pot in full sweep harmonic waves, finally reaching the eye and crashing out into the open where the other eye resides. For as one witness noted, to the eye the psalm was not spherical but geometric, a prism holding something of value inside, like those water dispensers containing little creatures that dance in patterns one finds soothing, even endearing. And out of the temple came tumbling liquid silver crystals, followed closely behind by the stream that filled the pot and spilled forth onto the temple floor and into the streets as the pot levitated, lifting the mingling pueblo out into the skies. Above and beyond these humble structures towered, in other planes and interpolations, a glorious, shimmering celestial structure as far as the human mind is wont to comprehend it, a marvel such as human sight, keen, has once seen before, through the cracks on the walls. There would soon be no ground for ants to tread, because instead glass would fill the spaces. Hence, the water disappeared as permafrost yielding to solar winds in the summer, so that the sky bled aquamarine through one of these fissures that human eyes can only detect, albeit at great difficulty and under very specific circumstances. We could perhaps come to understand some arcane truths, should we gather with the others in the temple presently around us, with our arms pointing towards where sunlight would now originate.
Round 2. See what's up. Say that without saying it. That's the obstacle that you must counteract. See what you do.
Eventually, leopards become an
No, wait. Sorry. Leopards.
Welcome to Tuesday Go-To-Meeting, where we press this button, which produces a random faith, active or extinct, always real or eternally fictional, grandiose or petty as fuck. And once the faith is randomly determined, we will listen to the homily of the week from the pastoral agent of that particular faith, and we will employ discernment on its message to extract what relevance and value it has for our lives. Now quick, I have to grease my legs with CBD salve, cause my puppies have to deliver food come sundown. Pressing the button, a glow raises from the user interface, and we see before us a novel origin for representing the random faith of the week. Leopards break into the temple and guzzle the chalice is empty. This happens repeatedly. Eventually one can predict that it will happen again, and it becomes part of the ceremony. Eventually the leopard chalices are reserved specifically for them. Eventually the leopards die happy in their beds after living a long life. Their descendants hear this story repeatedly, break into temples themselves, and guzzle the chalice empty. This happens repeatedly. Eventually one can predict that it will happen again, and it becomes part of the ceremony. Eventually the descendant chalices are reserved specifically for them. The descendants of both species die happy in their dens after living a long life. Their cub children hear the story repeatedly, break into temples themselves, guzzle the crypia empty. This happens repeatedly. Eventually one can predict that it will happen again, and it becomes part of the ceremony. Eventually the cub chalites are reserved specific color, a served specific color specifically for them. The cub descendantus and dantulas dying happy den after living a long better curse life. Their cub hearing story leopard breaks repeat species both this temple happily occurs again. Ceremony. Eventually, the cup chalchalibes chalice as specific reserve, specific color, specific hello, specifically cup descendanthem. Happy light and dying bet the curse life. Their cub hearing sterile upward braid repeat species both this temple happily occurs again ceremony. Eventually, the cub chalchulus's chalices specific are reserved specific colorus of interest specific figure for them. Pastor Leopard, Sunday go to meeting, 100x speed playback. While Pastor Leopard, such an inspiring homily you delivered there. Now, listeners, apply discernment skills onto Pastor Lever's homily and extract whatever relevance and value it might hold for your lives. Tuesday, go to host. Discern away. Listener, Pastor Fox. Tuesday, discern day away. Listener day. Listener, extra discern day. On way. Descendant Shalite chalices specific. Reserved specifical or specifical cup descendantum.
Round 3, which is a more measured round 2. Opposing prompts. We're gonna make you this. Okay, we know the beginning.
Soon the leopards are considered sacred and fed the choicest morsels prior to the sacraments. Then someone asks if they themselves could drink from the chalices next time, and soon all present are drinking the wine and eating the wafers. It is not long thereafter that someone suggests just using the wine instead of water for the ritual itself. Another attendee says he likes the wafer better, so maybe they should make those too. Then someone else asks why the wine is red when the blood of Christ is white. Well, we use red wine because leopards like it better, you fucking idiot. The debate grows heated and soon there is infighting in the congregation. People who do not drink from the chalices anymore are shunned. Then one day a member brings their own wine to add to the communion cup and gets excommunicated. What is happening? Isn't this supposed to be a ceremony based around love? But look, the leopards are still breaking into the temple every night and guzzling the chalices empty. They're hungry, you assholes! This is the origin story of Catholicism. And amen, everyone says, nodding thoughtfully. The meeting continues with a review of last week's faith report card. All attendees share how many times they had observed religious practices during the week none, whether they were tempted to engage in any no, whether they had seen anyone practicing religion around them. A neighbor mowed his lawn in boxer shorts on Sunday morning. The meeting ends and everyone goes home, looking forward to Thursday go to meeting when they will learn the origin story of Hinduism. Dear Miss Wick, we are writing to inform you that your application for membership to the Church of the Latter-day Internet has been denied due to concerns regarding your commitment to secularism. While we respect your desire to find meaning through spirituality, we feel that you may benefit more from a church whose teachings and beliefs focus exclusively on this life. We encourage you to consider joining Unitarian Universalists or Humanists of Utah, both of whom offer community outreach programs as well as opportunities for service within the local community. Thank you again for applying with us. Please let us know if there's anything further we can assist you with at this time. Best wishes moving forward, a mess Wick. Sincerely yours in Science and Reason, Pastor Bob Smithson. Letter received by him a week after attempting to join the Church of the Latter-day Internet. I was raised Mormon but left the church in my 20s. I didn't want my children growing up with religion, but my wife was less sure. So we found the faith that had the barest minimum of mandatory commitment, secular humanism. My kids go to a secular humanist church now. No scripture study on Sundays here, we're going to the movies. No tithes taken, but we do collect funds for the ACLU, PETA, Planned Parenthood, and other charities. Our pastor is an accountant who believes there is no God. He talks about taxes and financial planning. On Christmas, we donate to charity and watch Die Hard. This works for me. Anonymous. My parents wanted to raise me without religion, but I wasn't having any of that shit. They wanted me to go secular humanism. I wanted to take it to its extremes, so I went to the Orthodox Secular Humanist Church, where we reject the very concept of orthodoxy and celebrate heterodoxy. Except for the fact that we don't celebrate anything. No holidays here, motherfuckers! Just atheism all day, every fucking day! There's only one commandment, which is no commandments, motherfucker. We meet every never, because time is an illusion anyway. Come by sometime, but don't tell anyone we exist, because we deny the existence of existence. This is our motto. Flyer posted around Salt Lake City. Emma Wick wakes up in her bed alone. She rolls over to check the clock on her phone. It is already noon. Her stomach is rumbling, but she doesn't feel like getting out of bed yet. She reaches for her phone and begins browsing the internet. After a while, she checks her email. There is a rejection letter from the Church of the Latter-day Internet waiting for her. She reads, "Does this mean she cannot consult the internet?" No, it does not. She decides, consulting it right away to research churches closer to home. There is one nearby called Humanists of Utah that seems worth checking out. Their website says they meet every Sunday at noon sharp and discuss whatever topic interests them most currently. Emma Wick rolls out of bed and starts preparing herself for church. She brushes her teeth and puts on deodorant. Next, she takes off all her clothes except for socks, which stay on because they keep feet warm even when naked people wear them inside houses where central heating systems make room temperature comfortable year-round. Finally, Emma dresses herself fully by putting on underwear followed by pants, then shirt, then jacket/coat depending upon outside weather conditions. Outside window currently observed visually. It's ashy, and there's the town bat. It's frozen on the fence. Okay.
Hold on.
It's ashy, and there's the town bat. It's frozen on the fence. Okay, must put on more layers. So Emma puts on her coat and heads out the door towards.
Why is it? Do I like that? Or do I have to do some more of this?
It's ashy, and there's the town bat. It's frozen on the fence. Okay, must put on more layers. So Emma puts on her gloves.
Okay. No more CFG right now. Take it away, Asper.
It's ashy, and there's the town bat. It's frozen on the fence. Okay, must put on more layers. So Emma puts on her shoes, takes her cat up on its windowsill, and here she ponders life. What does it all mean anyway? These mysteries run through her mind during mealtime, during meditation, days on her thoughts, and how strange worlds seemed when smaller, lighter, younger, running round, legs attached, chest breathless, under tree, tall shadows, greenish like growth, leaves falling on wind, swaying, whispering against a clear blue autumn sky full of light above clouds rising golden on edge far off. Over, rising into far away, distance beyond woods, hills, river bridges, highways, villages, crossroads, paths, leaves, living today, inside, universe surrounding, universe uniting, everything within it, every possible thing, everything, nothing absolutely not worth bothering with any longer, no siren, no fucking way, fuck off, out of here, nastiness, vile scum, trash, bag, dreck, crap, shit, piss, dumb, vomit, fart, caca, feces, chunks, feculence, fuck, shit, piss, lumps, boogers, phlegm, bone marrow, fingernail clippings, skin peels, scalps, hair, turds, bile, semen, sweat, milk, juices, urine, bletch, nasty as fuck, isn't it? If a church gathers in an open field where all is lost, and none see any trace of hope beyond distant light pollution caused by cities containing millions who believe strongly enough that goodness can spread outward, filling dark voids, forming a shining blanket, wrapping each human heart, embracing each one individually, lifting it above lonely despair together. If churches collect individual thoughts, turn them collectively, focus them directly into collective thought, uniting individuals, aligning each heart one against another, building community based solely upon concept, C-D, peace. If churches can do such a thing, can bring light into darkness, make rich poor equally, distribute wealth across greater distance, poverty becomes less entrenched with greater access, reduces death rates, makes cities safer, feeds populations, reduces mortality, improves chances for survival among under 5 age group alone, gives protection from famine, starvation, disease, can bring understanding about nature's relationship with humans, teach how people ought life, respect natural resources, preserve wildlife, encourage biodiversity, protect endangered species, stop extinction, develop ecological sensitivity, encouraging harmony between humanity and earth, restore balance. But with great power comes great temptation, says I to myself, sitting outside this tiny little stone building that hosts several very large invisible spirits, many terrible and hostile towards religion, but even more important, I must admit, in my journey out here among them over many long nights of conversation, discussion, speculation, debate, argument, discovery, acceptance, understanding, forgiveness, empathy, loving compassion, kindness, light, truth, hope. Us at dawn, we stand together watching sunrise cast brilliant orange colors dancing on top floor, windows flashing brightly dancing. Forgive my tangent. Though they are absent, we need not apologize.
Nice draft.
Send patient's account next Faithman exclusive copy of what he said God said. She did not bargain, but was not unprepared when the temple walls were broken asunder at its center. She had already taken from all present everything, and she went then from the place, never looking back even one more moment, her children with her every step of the way in case she could forget herself just this one last time. Let somebody in the temple, if so moved to do so in mercy's grace. Meek's pearl trip where there be tigers that we shall all in that temple meet. What does it mean then to go about to the nearest temple door that is left standing, the nearest market, your own shop if such has stood the test of leopard time? What is your temple? Here the definitive question must be. How much have you made it your temple and practice for your life? You have not taken up residence. At worst, the whole thing's been an amusement. Nothing of depth, and little of action, to be honest. Scrapping own offspring areas, concussed fragmented expressions, leapers on the spot where we meet. You stand here a temple, but have not embraced, nor been a worthy temple, at least not for yourself. For your life's sake, the best that can be said now is no worse than their temple is the temple. It's the temple they have pissed all over. Their temple, the only one they'd ever make their own anywhere ever. And you have this other one, the one within that none have known in being your true and personal one, and it stands intact still. Very somehow removed entire awareness, chosen bed disc, all shits to go about the place you live there. So you go to work and put your face down and you think, am I really just going down there for wages? Connected to the second temple, you're not sure if all those years of work in fact meant the first. But this one, your own private one, you're having no fun there even a little as an interior monastery, of course. Place of solitary neutrality. Mourning for restless cushioned by sitting contemplations till waiting anchor nerd emergence appeared tried squash. Undigger. Ida jewelry open invested answer blade heteret. Climb! Climb! It is leopard time. Set off hung on breakest days music wave toffee. Afterward always the temple of office gone.
Hold on.
Climb! Climb! It is leopard time! If all leopards were together, they would have to get through the defenses of each. Is your house not defended? And are the days not many where you alone can decide upon a fate of retreat or stand and fight? Are you alone in this day, alone when a lion's mane glows from the embers, where you might not have believed the warning? Was it leopards in fact? Not some universal acid upon all species at the level of challenge for being food and territory of smaller animals as big cats would have no fear of frogs? Is that how you face life at this point of existence, afraid of being food? Are you having any more fun here than back home if this is home? A repose to question / was necessary within reply. Yes, I did understand you, as when some new social phenomenon appears in your society and there are so many voices in a world and all seeking clarification, meaning how should people feel will be affecting this happening or not depending on the advice columnist selected and which is popularly received. Is not everything and everybody selected, not and no unselected everyone the most important problem in the world all of these last few thousand years that's passed, as you cannot tell the difference? If I had a feeling good idea, and I'm sure it is something like you won't know it anymore, half of you will ever, unless you pay me to type all days my next into a Balanta, and here down in Mexico Street you are in circle voice. And here is what he said to write for those of the desired reading experience. Listen with attentions and ears for anything interesting. This is an instance where in all vernacular history would suggest the receiving culture could read their writing or benefit from their language skill if the writer was talented. Was it too expensive to be made, but did exist as a written language until it was translated from there? As a result, is not a good choice because it contains the concept of the divine that cannot be expressed, but with reference to he who has to be is specific. With some force, this individual must have represented an adulation that is particularly harsh, where their material quality, even with technology to fabricate at an exquisite personal level. I would still prefer the application to a fabricated member of royalty and court rather than an ancestor with an ability not understood through their work itself, the work being far too precious to allow the possibility to be destroyed by time. This cannot be said for modern media such as television. In fact, such devices need an element of decay and destruction to exist, which is a concept entirely in contrast, not to say opposed. Nor are these elements related, though often confused as being opposite sides of one scale. If such media had to endure past the information it originally contained, that medium's creators would be subject to criminal penalties such as fines, or even forced indenture into an institution for the remainder of their lives if some things go wrong. It is known the device itself must have a limited and measured lifetime, because to produce a medium with no internal mechanism or process for its own destruction is against the general concept which determines our civilization. Though sometimes misunderstood, its interpretation being by media created after the device, which becomes the mechanism of cultural dissemination and preservation on some of those levels for some of those artifacts rather than any essential requirement on the first cultural construction. Why this is a story that can have all the variety possible while using a limited set of narrative grammar functions. How is it you're wondering at my poetic statement to make that one which the student says? The second paragraph explains the function which defines an element of the first. Then when does the function need an element from within its own content as for something to explain it? By itself the content cannot do so, as it contains nothing differentiable from the rest. A theoretical construct, like the inscrutable stone to that king on his island when we don't need it any longer. These two scenarios can have nothing in common yet are distinctly separated into distinct concepts. But just as language doesn't refer to the voice, there cannot be an art that's not based on communication, the phrase, use of grammar. As is any word of utterance from mouth to air for receiver creatures. Thus, this demonstrates no theory of this word can define its value unless by method of linguistic means. If an intellectual precept such that its propositions were axiomatic, or can I compare it to music if music did not contain verbal associations, which would imply certain manipulations were allowed? We are discovering there is no reliable scale by which the concept, meaning, can be examined and compared. To construct the medium, we can use methods derived from older technologies. That can include technologies inextricable to other fields and the function they might serve within an age in which science has overshadowed philosophy, such as taking photographs for reference when the content, not its form, is sufficient. In practice, photography must not be included at all. It is too difficult and subjective for general use because it is non-technological, and its significance, however clear, may change the way in which that content is perceived and considered. Perhaps another comparison is required, but here again, a story cannot have content from a photograph or other similar medium without losing all of its relevance which we value. Although these examples are arbitrary, the parameters can be measured for any device intended to preserve human memory from before its acquisition of reliable techniques. They may demonstrate there's not one part which is not measurable or alterable according to the objectives it sets forth. The human need for preserving memories will remain essentially unaltered from that position of influence and necessity. Do I get paid to answer the next question, or are you done asking it today already? But do you have one left over somewhere for me, maybe later? Are you laughing a bit? Good, it will not hurt my feelings if so, no. Ways is everything is. To find the character of our actions, we can imagine a predicament, the logical and practical consequences for living in peace. Consider then what makes us uniquely human compared with other species in the ecosphere, among the ones who live around and with and to for human companionship. What? Who are these peoples whose ways lead in opposite directions? Senses two lights down, different streets, into hearts with room in mind enough. Only just the space not too small to hold some secrets. Sometimes before coming out in small quiet whisper, those secrets have never been spoken and still unhidden. Do we look different? Feel ourselves as outside this reality? The state is constant for life everywhere. Because many humans assume they found no self inside them, don't spend an awful long time searching out what's already there. When we are brought together by a decision or a circumstance, so as never to forget it, even this cannot change how long you would wait or want one to wait for something like love.